Programmers spend most of their time developing new features, feature after feature after feature. And then when comes time to add language, we might think that it's just another feature, and a small one at that. But it's not. Language, in fact, is an entirely new architectural dimension that can affect all the features, all layers, and all tiers of your product. Language will affect character sets and fonts. It will affect how data is sorted and how messages are displayed. It can affect the user interface, the business logic, the database schema. It can potentially affect all components of your product and the data paths between them. And not only does language affect all your features, but it affects the entire development process. The language dimension means that requirements will now become multilingual requirements. How will you find out what you need to do to meet users' needs in Japan, Germany, or China? The usual mistake is to presume that they can make do with the same thing the English users have. Documentation now becomes multilingual documentation. And documentation can and should be internationalized just as code can be internationalized. It's called writing for translation. It applies to web pages as well as to PDF files. Using the right tools and appropriate processes can save 20 to 30% of document translation costs. And remember, this is where the bulk of the translation cost resides. Testing becomes multilingual testing. How will you test your product in 15 or 20 languages? You will need native language speakers, native language operating systems and browsers, and an optimal way of using these resources to provide the most useful test results. Efficient multilingual testing requires proper planning. And finally, we have international customer support. Customer support around the world in various time zones and in various languages. How will that work? How will your English experts understand the problems of the Chinese users? And there's still more. Beyond research and development, language and culture will affect the entire business process. How you market and sell will vary by country. The sponsors you choose, for example. Will it be Serena Williams or a soccer superstar? Most countries have complex privacy laws that you must follow. Some also have mandatory requirements for software. The way you negotiate contracts, collect payments, and deal with banks also varies by country. And finally, even if you only have a small support team in country, you'll still have to deal with the local employment laws and culture. In short, language is not just another feature. Language and culture constitute the pervasive globalization dimension that affects the entire business process. It'll affect how you design, develop, and test. It'll affect how you market, sell, and support your products, be they websites, desktop software, or mobile apps. Everything that you do will be impacted by language and culture.